Hi to everyone, this is Istituto Internazionale Architettura Vico Morcote. I'm Alessandro Martinelli and we are sitting with Pihla Meskanen. So Pihla, can you introduce yourself briefly?
My name is Pihla Meskanen. I'm an architect from Helsinki, Finland, and I also have pedagogical degree. And what I have done for the past 18 years that I have founded a School of Architecture for children and youth, which is called Arkki. And Arkki works in Helsinki, Espoo and Vantaa, 3 cities.
Can you explain us what kind of activity have you been taking part here in i2a?
Here. Yeah. Well, here in Vico Morcote we have arranged one workshop in July and one workshop now in August for children from the age of 4 to 13 or 14. And the topic of the course is hut building, but in addition to building real huts, we have also been building models and learning about architecture through three-dimensional working, learning by doing and exploring in 3 dimensions.
How did you start this interest in teaching architecture to such a young people?
In Finland we have a long tradition of music schools and art schools for children since 50 years. And in 1993 the government made a decision that in addition to these music schools, theater schools, art schools, we should also have architecture as an art form that could be taught to children as a hobby. So in 1993 the government made this kind of program and proposal, and then my mother, who was also an architect, she was part of this government group who made this initial, they made like the guidelines for architecture education for children. And then my mother, after this, she asked me and my colleague if we would like to start an architecture school for children. And how we work, it's a similar way that art schools or music schools for children work.
But how did you develop the program? Because it has been invented by you.
I would say bit by bit, because what there was in the beginning was like guidelines that something like this could be the topics of architecture education. And of course in the government program they wrote shortly that of course this architecture education to children is not to educate them to become architects, but as to be general education about the environment and general education about the places we live in, architecture and city planning. But we started to develop the program in 1994, and we had 20 students at that time, from the age of 7 to 12 in the beginning. And our school began to grow bit by bit, and we developed the program, I think, gradually with the children, with our first students who were a little bit experimental, I think. But since then we have students now that are from the age of 4 to the age of 19. So all their school life, when they go to the school, they can also have architecture as a hobby. And our most of our teaching takes place between 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the afternoon, so after school.
Are you expecting to have some effects on these after this education on young minds about architecture? I mean, do you do this Arkki with a kind of moral intent? Is there something that you want to develop, or for the moment you are just trying to develop a better technique to teach something in architecture?
Absolutely, I think it has a moral and like approach of educational and moral approach, and I can say after working 18 years I can say that I can really see that it has influence. For example, one time one young student told me that after being like 1 year or 2 years with us, he said that I really see the whole world with different eyes. So I think even if I wouldn't get money, I think that kind of have that kind of response, I think it's worth doing. But I mean, that was one thing, but of course we see the development in the children in many ways, and now since a few years we have also been working with the Helsinki City Planning Department and also developing ways how children can really take part in the really designing the environment, real environment.
So we can mediate also this activity of the children taking part in the design?
Sorry?
Will you mediate in taking part of the children?
Yes, we have been doing in Arkki, so that the architects who work with us, who are used to working with children and who are working in such a language that they can talk with children and communicate better with children than in the official architectural language. So we have been working many projects. Yes, for example, there was a huge project that took 6 months, and it was initiated by Helsinki City Planning Office, and it is a new area that will be for 4,000 people, and it used to be a former shipyard, and now it's going to be, it's totally in the center of Helsinki, and the City Planning Office wanted that it is not only designed by architects and professionals, but also it's from the beginning taking all the opinions of citizens, and they invited normal local citizens, adults and children to make plans and give ideas. And also then Arkki and our architects worked with children to get out from the children's head, the children's ideas, and we did that for 6 months with 100 children from the age of 4 to the age of 17. So we wanted also to experience for ourselves that how we can work with the 4-year-olds and how we can work with the 7-year-olds, and up to what extent they are able to deal with the city planning topics.
I mean, what makes me most astonished is that it is extremely complex to deal with children and to make something meaningful, and also to be a facilitator, to mediate, to help them to express in certain ways certain concerns about architecture. And I'm very impressed because you do it not just with few children. I mean, it is a huge number of persons taking part in Arkki as children, and therefore, I would be interested if you can give an outline of the numbers, I mean, of Arkki. How many students do you have, how many locations, and how it is organized, because that's a kind of miracle that you constructed, and it's very nice to see in its extent.
Now we have our one main part of our teaching is these evening architecture clubs, which follow the rules of the Ministry of Education. They have made the rules and the guidelines for our educational program. So it is called Basic Education of Architecture. And in that program we have 400 children in 1 week. And we work in 3 locations in 3 cities. So each week the same 400 children come throughout the year. But in the summer we have a third term with also different courses, which can be for all children, also those who don't take part in this continuous education. We have 1 week courses and short courses, and in the summer we have another 400 children, and then we have also different kinds of shorter workshops and programs, so we have thousands of children in a year.
But you said to me also that you got an activity of educating the teachers. I mean, you are going to also not just educate the children, but also educate the architect to teach to the children. So how many architects did you educate in these years?
We have now 14 architects working for us, and we are developing ourselves this program, continuous educational program, where we constantly educate our architects working with us. But then also I am teaching at the University of Art and Design, now called Aalto University, and there we are educating the art teachers also to teach architecture in the school as part of teaching the art. and also I have been taking part in making 2 books with the Association of Architects, the Finnish Association of Architects has published 2 books for school teachers on how to teach architecture, which has different projects and programs and guidelines on how to do it and what to teach.
I'm very impressed about your position and the fact that in many cases, acting with with children, you have got really a strong point, a strong position in teaching and in what is academia in terms of architecture, what is the reflection in terms of architecture. So, from this point, I would like if you can say what can you foresee as a possible direction for an institute like this one in Vico-Morcotto? I mean, because you have got an idea of what could be the research, or what should be the research today in terms of architecture. And Vico-Morcotto is an institute which is applying its own strength, its own effort in many fields, but is also operating from a particular location and manifesting certain specific interests. So I would just, interested to know what is your opinion, not just on Vico-Morcotto, but on this kind of institutes.
I think that it's very important to teach children, and I really think that architecture should be have a bigger part in the school educational system, because it's funny that almost all schools that I know, they teach music and they teach art, and most have even dance or something, gymnastics. But architecture, which is one of the oldest art forms, and it was before painting and other art, so it's so strange that it's not taught in the schools. So I definitely think that would be the best thing, to have architecture education in all the schools, but because it's not the case even in Finland, so that's why we are working. And I think it's very necessary, because life is getting more complicated, and cities are getting more dense, and people need to have more and more knowledge of city planning, architecture and technology in order to make the right choices, because many people affect the environment, not only architects but politicians and all kinds of people with many different choices they make, and also many different influences they can make as in different positions, like politicians, for example. And people who have the money, they can make many decisions that have a very great impact on the city development, and they don't maybe even think about it. So I think it's necessary for all children to have like a certain type of knowledge about architecture, because it has an effect in the future.
Pihla, many thanks. It was a great pleasure to have you here, and I hope to see you soon back in Vico-Morcotto. Hi to everyone.